Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons. We're going to talk about Arbor Adventures, Session 3, continuing the story of my current Dungeons & Dragons campaign using Crown and Skull rules. So it takes place on Forgotten Realms, but it uses Runehammer Games' epic Crown and Skull rules. Really pretty amazing mix. Really cool, very cool mix. All right, so let's start talking about this. So we join Drolos. So Drolos is the name of the empath assassin. He is an elf. He is a high elf, which in Forgotten Realms is a sun elf. There are no high elves in Forgotten Realms. There are sun elves. So he is a sun elf. He has a brother. His brother went missing 3 months ago. He then had to interrupt an assassination attempt that he was contracted by the group that contracts his assassinations, which is still a question mark at this point. So they are concerned that the assassination that was assigned to him and that he was paid for is not complete. But also, he is pursued by a group that wants Thove, the hate of Vecna, this incredibly powerful cursed dagger that is connected to Vecna. Okay. So Drolos has come to Phandalin to seek out his brother. He comes to Phandalin and he finds out where his brother is. So Demeth, the leader of the woodcutters, explains to him that his brother is with the miners. He then very strongly warns him. He says, listen, do not go to get your brother. And the reason why is the woodcutters are about to go to war with the dwarves. If you go there, you're going to be caught in the interim, and I cannot guarantee your safety. Okay, so that's where we're at. So at this point, Drolos goes to Barthen's Provisions and he gears up. He has that Rambo montage. He gets everything he needs because he knows he is going into significant combat, right? Because he knows where he has to go to the dwarves to find his brother, because he knows his brother is with the dwarves in one of the 6 mines that are around Phandalin. So there are 3 silver mines, 1 garnet mine, 1 ruby mine, and 1 sapphire mine. Okay. Now this is really fun. I really like the way we did this. I told him, hey, listen, you could just go to, none of the mine locations are secret, right? You can, you could literally follow miners there. But you don't know which one your brother's in. So you can go to Thera, who is the leader of the dwarven miners, and ask her where your brother is in which of the 6 mines. Or you could just go to the mines and start going one after the other and search through, and you will roll a 1d6 and you have to hit a 3, right, in order to get the right mine. So yeah, Leila has 1 in 6 chance of hitting the mine, right? So because it's just luck, right? He doesn't have any clues to tell him which one it is. He has investigation, right? But he had already finished investigation. He now knows, and so and there's always this time where you can gumshoe it for a bunch of time, but there's a point where you need to take action, right? And I also told him you can investigate, but by the time you're done your investigation, there's a good chance your brother will move, right? So he needed to kind of cut, commit or cut, right? So one thing that was good was he did. So he forms a plan. So first of all, he goes and he gets his ally. Now his ally, I'm sorry, one other thing. We had just realized that when Drolos, the empath assassin, the Gold Dragon Master's player character, when he encountered a group of Waterdeep mercenaries, he killed half of them, right? And 4 woodcutters didn't kill any of them. So, in fact, 2 of the woodcutters that went died, right? So, Drolos is quite dangerous. He is, when we say empath assassin, we mean empath assassin, right? So, so the assassin part is very much part of it, right? And also, just to be clear, I really love this aspect of the Gold Dragon Master that I'm playing with. We jumped in. There were 55 questions about this character that were completely open. but we just started playing. And I think, and I love that approach so much, that you just jump in and you begin playing only knowing your class, right? And you just have the equipment that your class would normally have, right? And I really want to, I really want to encourage you guys. That's all you need, right? And I will tell you right now, I think so many Dungeons and Dragons games are ruined by this idea that you have to have every little jot and tittle of your character sheet done. You don't. All you need to know is your class, right? Begin playing. And the reason why is, this is not a joke. Dungeons and Dragons campaigns are incredibly precarious. Most of them end after 6 sessions, right? Unplanned, right? And are never finished. There's no finished story arc, right? So, and I think the reason why is there's all this build up and there's all this promise, rather than just, just getting in there and starting, right? So at this point, Drolos was given 1,000 gold. He now has 1,100 gold pieces. He was given almost 1,200 gold pieces, excuse me. He was given 1,000 gold pieces for saving the 30,000 gold pieces that the Neverwinter woodcutters in Phandalin had organized. Also, to be clear, that is payment for other woodcutters in the Neverwinter woods that live in other villages. Phandalin is just kind of a rally point, right? And Demeth is trusted among other guilds, right? He not only does he lead his own woodcutter guild, but he has good standing with other woodcutter guilds, right? Which is very interesting. So basically, so at this point he's earned 1,000 gold pieces. Also, he got a bunch of hero points for doing that. And at this point, I said to him, okay, you now know where your brother is. Do you run off to the mines by yourself? Do you go find Dragonborn Grax and rally with him, right? Your ally. What do you do next? And he's like, I am going to go to my Dragonborn ally, the Dragonborn warrior Grax, and we are going to, and I'm going to task him with going to Thera to find out where my brother is in the mines, and I'm gonna hide myself when that meeting happens. That way Thera doesn't know who I am. So he's keeping this assassin thing real. Like, he's staying in the backdrop, and he's remaining stealthy. So Drolos is really taking on the full aspects of assassin, right? Empath assassin, and it is very interesting. So so at this point he chooses Grax, and then Grax meets with Thera, the leader of the dwarf miners, and it's a female. She is a warrior herself, and she meets with Dragonborn warrior Grax, and he's a known adventurer to her. And she, they talk a little bit, and she says, "Listen, this elf brother, this elf is with us. I know exactly what mine he's with, but I'm not going to tell you, and the reason why is you need this information. And frankly, we're not allies. We're not enemies, but we're not friends, right? And there's, and I have this information. You need it, but at this point, there's nothing in it for me, right? So she's just very business-minded about it, right? And so he gives her a moonlight pearl, an actual gem from his own trove. Now, this is interesting. I thought this was very interesting. At this point, Drolos had gotten 1,000 gold, but he didn't share any of it with his ally, which I was like, that's a little, Now, the ally hadn't really done anything of significance yet, right? But I don't know. That was this, this Gold Dragon Master is doing a great job, but I thought that was a little bit of a misstep. I think he should have paid him and started sharing some of the wealth earlier, right? And the reason why is Grax could die. Like, they're going into an extremely difficult situation. Grax has already given up like something very significant, an actual gem that was hundreds of gold pieces minimum, right? And at this point, Drolos has paid him nothing, right? Which is interesting. All right, so at this point, he gets there, and he sends Grax in, and Grax gets the information, and more than that, Thera says, hey, this moonlight pearl that you gave me, this is extremely valuable. I'm going to give you a dwarven escort, and I'm going to fully provision you, and I'm going to give you a horse, right, to take you to the mine. It's not your horse, but it's, you know, free ride to the mine, right? So then Drolos has to decide whether to buy a horse for 150 gold, standard price is 75 gold, or to or to steal one. He decides to steal one. He steals one, and they go and they ride 3 hours away to the garnet mine. So his elf brother is at the garnet mine. He secretly follows Grax and one dwarf escort who's leading him to the mine safely, knows the best routes, knows the fastest routes, knows the safest route, right? And everything goes real well until there's one thing. They pass a river, right? And I asked for an investigation roll for the river. And when he passes the river, he's going over he's actually riding his horse across a tree, right? Now, this is kind of interesting. He doesn't have riding. He probably would have fallen in the river, right? But sometimes we don't, you know, one thing is don't call for a roll if you don't want something, you know. I want him, at this point, I want to move the story, right? So I just give it to him that he can go across this tree. And he looks down and he sees that only about a third of the amount of water that should be in the river is in the river. And it has muddy banks on either side. And he knows what the weather's been like. There's something wrong with the river. And I tell him, okay, you're an investigator, right? You have he has 13. He has a 13 investigation. In Crown and Skull, you just roll under a 13 and you succeed, right? Now, by the way, no Crown and Skull, none of the skills can go over 18. So that's very significant, right? That means he always has a 65% chance of succeeding. That's very significant, right? So basically, I said, listen, you could solve this river investigation, or you can go to the mine. You realize you're only about a mile away from the mine, and Grax is going to go into the mine, and he's going to be led there by the dwarf miner, and you're going to need to follow him. And if you don't, you may not find the mine, right? Because you haven't seen it yet, and you're not going to be able to see how people enter into the mine, right? And he's like, oh, because he realizes something's wrong here, right? And so he says, forget it. I'm not going to solve the mystery of the river. I'm going to go to the mine, the garnet mine. And they do. So Grax and Drolos and the dwarf escort all go all the way to the mine. And that's where I'm going to wrap it for this field guide report to Dungeons & Dragons, Crown and Skull, Arbor Adventures Session 3. Thank you so much for letting me share this with you. Please consider liking and subscribing, and every single word you just heard is my humble opinion on the best parts of Session 3 of Arbor Adventures. I'd love to hear your humble opinion on the same, or on Crown and Skull, or on Dungeons & Dragons, or on Forgotten Lands, or on Phandalin. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.